Good morning. Welcome to the Morning Hustle. I'm the Worth Playboy.
I'm my Playboys Bunny.
And we are going. I didn't send you a maxim this morning.
I got one.
We got one anyway.
I got you, baby.
Thank God somebody knows what's going on. And we usually jump right into this. The Morning Hustle is when we cover some basics and we kind of look at the more topical things going on Twitter and on the timeline. And Bunny now has a morning show that addresses the timeline, as it runs across in front of her. But in general, we tend to try to stay close to the things that we're good at when in our day-to-day Twitter feed, which is in my case game, and
I know attention to me. I'm just
relationships and pickup. And Bunny focuses on the sex. Are you out of the picture?
No, you're good.
Okay.
You're good. I'm just messing around at this point.
Oh, and then today we like to talk about things that are a little bit more topical and approach it from the game, sex, education.
Yeah.
So you got to read it.
So the maximum today: if you get sexually rejected, don't admit it to yourself, and especially don't admit it to the girl.
That's true. That's true. That's one of those. Well, it's like any type of rejection. You want to get good. You're going to get good at being turned down for dates, that sort of thing. You don't want to get good, but you have to get good because it's a numbers game.
It is a numbers game.
And like we say, like when you approach a girl and ask her out, and she says no, you move on as if you never asked her out in the first place.
Right.
And with the sexual rejection, which goes along with that, if she's not interested, again, a lot of times this is all just timing.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like when we talk about asking a girl out, the week before she got engaged, and you ask her out, you don't know any of these things. You don't know what's really going on. And she's going to say no. But if 2 days ago, her and her boyfriend broke up, she's like about to hit the revenge factor, she'll say yes.
Yeah.
And sexuality is much like the same thing.
Now, in the realm of sexual rejection, so based on this maxim, what's the difference between sexual rejection and just needing a girl to be like a 3-date system instead of a 1-date close, like that kind of thing?
Sexual rejection is when and this is how probably one of the most common questions I get in the DMs is, should I ask this girl out again?
Yeah.
Like, we went out, we kissed on the first date, and then I got her bra off on the second date, and then she wouldn't let me take her bra off on the third date. Will you stop? It's not going to go any further. No. It's not taking her out again. It's not. You should always be moving forward with the sexuality. One step, even a half step forward, and you're going in the right direction. You can't read girls' minds. And I've known hardcore players that have gone out with girls, like they'll admit like 10 times to get all the way to having sex. And I couldn't do it.
And it's never worth it. That's what's interesting to me.
That's true.
At that point, it's just you can't stand the thought of rejection. And so you keep pushing forward.
And I think, and I've never went to the next step with my question, which is like, was it worth it?
Right.
I think for a lot of guys, the conquest.
Yeah.
The conquest, they're like, I'm going to fuck this girl. That's what they say to themselves. And whatever I have to do.
Yeah.
And then they like walk away.
Yeah. But I mean, even Rolo has said for years that it's never worth it.
No.
When you have to chase, hardcore chase, or the desire isn't negotiable, like all this kind of stuff, it's because it's not worth it in the end.
Exactly. I mean, there are special, populations and special situations, religious girls that, are inexperienced when you're younger. But in general, 2 to 3 dates should be more than sufficient. Most girls,
she knows if she wants to fuck you immediately.
Yeah.
Period. I mean, that's all there is to that.
There's yes girls, there's maybe girls, and there's no girls. And if you can get a maybe girl to at least meet up with you,
yeah,
she's going to be a yes girl in the moment. You know, so when I tell guys, if she agrees to meet up with you for drinks or to come over and watch TV, who knows?
Yeah.
She's 90% there.
Right.
She's already said, I'll fuck this guy if he doesn't fuck it up.
Right.
You know, and that's it. I mean, girls will go, oh, people go out for food. No, they don't. You can go get fast food anywhere. If she's going to get dressed, put on clothes, take a shower, shave, do everything for a date, she's like, let's see how far this thing goes.
She's prepared.
Yeah.
Yeah. For sure. Excellent. All right, you handsome devil. That's you. Next, we have a lot of videos running in the background is what we have. Okay, is 28 too old to date an 18-year-old? And I'm going to turn the sound on and maximize this. And we'll be able to hear it in just a sec. There's a lot of catching up that has to be done here. I don't know why we're not hearing it. Oh, haha, I know why. This will help.
Is 28 too old to date an 18-year-old now?
Come on.
No.
19, I was dating a 30-year-old.
Oh, heavens to Betsy.
Oh, you old man.
Yo,
You have a daughter.
probably.
Yeah.
Also, because I just have some semblance of a. Yo, 18 is a child. 19.
I was popping my at 18, dog. I was all around the block at 18. Is 28 too old to date an 18-year-old
So
now?
that's
No? Yes, come on.
When I was 19,
Funny.
I was dating a 30-year-old.
That's funny.
and it's funny because what you do see, like this girl's like, she admits, you know, I was 19 dating a 30-year-old.
Yeah.
A lot of women, especially like in their 30s and 40s, will shame men that are in their same age group
Yeah.
for dating girls 10, 15, 20 years younger. But they did the same thing when they were younger.
Exactly.
And what they say is it'll always be like, I know better now. If I could go back, and which is what they're doing, you know, I'm warning the younger girls. But most of them did it,
Yes.
you know, and,
Yes.
and I have a complete book on younger women and older men,
Yeah.
you know, and it's all of Chateau's guidelines on older men dating younger women. And we always say, what's the spread? 10 years,
Yeah.
you know, so 28, 29 can date an 18-year-old. And then as you get older, the spread, you know, a 50-year-old and a 30-year-old is not that big of a deal. 35 is pretty normal.
I think at 30, the other wives are going to be like, what do you have in common?
Yeah,
You know,
yeah, at that point.
35, she can kind of like how dresses can dress up or dress down. 35, you can mature her or you can turn her into a 20-year-old.
Exactly.
You know.
Exactly. And again, you know, what's young for, if the guy is 60 and she's 40, she's young.
Yeah.
You know,
she's
I mean, it's
arm
all
candy.
relative, you know, and she has good energy. I mean, all these things come into play. But this girl, and like the guy, I really think he was like following the, what do you say, politically correct.
Yeah.
You know, it's hard, especially if he has a wife, and if his daughter can be 3 or 19 or 20, he's still not going to want her to see that and go, oh,
it's
you know,
okay
yeah,
for me to date someone
that's it
your
was
age.
okay. Yeah, exactly. So exactly. So that's the deal.
Yeah.
It's a rough one when you're, you know, being recorded. You know, what's your opinion?
Yeah.
And, you know, especially if his role is kind of like as a father or dad.
The internet has a long history. He's probably being overly cautious what he's putting out. Meanwhile, she is not as much.
No. And I think it was very frank of her to like say, you know, this is what I did. And when I was 18, I was already, you know, off the hook.
Yeah.
You know, so
Well, I mean, when I was 19, I was attracted to a 38-year-old. He was
exactly.
quite literally twice my age.
Exactly.
You know, that's not who I dated, but that's who I was attracted to.
Yeah.
I've always been attracted to the older men than myself.
Bunnies in what I call the top 20%. And the way older men, younger women, so many girls will be like, that is disgusting. I would never do that. But that doesn't mean your girlfriend's one.
Yeah.
You know, so 20% are absolutely not. They want a guy that's either like 2 or 3 years within their age range.
Yeah.
60% are undecided.
Yeah.
Right situation, right cover story,
Right.
right, you know, vacation. Maybe nobody ever meets them, or she gets to go to nice places with him, or she travels with him.
It's a big deal.
Yeah, it depends. It depends is really what it comes down to. And then 20% just prefer older men.
Right.
You know, so you've got 80%.
But the lower 20% are absolutely
not. They won't even look at them.
Yeah.
No.
They're invisible.
Yeah.
But that also depends on her age, because a 30-year-old if a 20-year-old girl sees a 30, 35-year-old, that may feel way too old. The same two people 30 years later, completely different story.
Things shift. You know, a lot of this comes down to, you know, is how old is too old? It really depends.
Yeah.
You know, and situational. And where if the girl's just going through a breakup,
Yeah.
and she's been with a guy for like 5 years, she's 25, she goes, okay, I'm going to take 1 year and just kind of recover.
Well, and if she just went through a breakup with a guy who didn't have his shit together,
Yeah.
and seems immature, and that's one of her biggest complaints about him,
Yeah.
she's gonna jump at the chance to date someone older who seems like he's got everything together. He's got a house, he's got a yard, he has a history,
Yeah.
he has a business, he has a profession, you know, he has his shit together. He can afford to take her to nice restaurants without having to save up for 3 months first. It all matters.
Yeah. It all, and again, sometimes it's the curiosity factor.
Yeah.
You don't hear about as many, you know, even though it's kind of like a theme, girls sleeping with their boss. But there's a lot of, you know, girls being an admin, intern, new sales girl, sleeping with the older executives.
Oh, yeah.
You know, and again, sometimes it's just the romance part of it.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
for lack of a better word.
Girls like being swept off their feet.
Yeah. I mean, you're in a hotel bar.
Yeah.
You're in a strange city. No one will ever know. You know, so that's a lot of it.
It makes girls feel like they're in the movies.
Exactly.
And that's the ultimate goal with girls, is that we feel like we're living in a movie.
That's exactly it. And if you can set up that basically scene,
Yeah.
99% of the time you'll close.
Exactly.
That's really good.
Exactly. And I think that once they get in the bedroom, they also want to feel like they're being fucked by a porn star. So they're in a whole different kind of scene.
That's funny. We can help you with all this.
We can help you with all of these
this.
things. All of these things. She's going to fuck someone. It might as well be you.
That's how you have to look at this. No girls are ever single. A girl who's single might be seeing 2 or 3 guys. You know, I know it's a horrible. People don't believe me when I say this, but if you do this long enough, you realize
It's true.
what it looks like. No, at least a somewhat passively attractive girl is ever single. And the really, really attractive girls will be quite honest. They'll be like, I didn't have a boyfriend.
Right.
You know,
Right.
They might go for 2 weeks without a boyfriend.
And then they're losing their minds.
Yeah, they've never. Yeah, it's completely different. But you know, an average girl, they're never single, but they're single in that they don't have a boyfriend.
Right.
They don't have a committed relationship.
That's the big key factor.
Yeah.
Right there.
And for some reason, men don't hear that. When a girl says, "Yeah, I've been single for a year," they think she hasn't been seeing anybody.
No.
She might have been going out on a date every other night.
Right.
You know, so
Right.
you have to translate it.
Yeah.
You know, and she's sleeping with somebody, so why not you?
That's right.
You know,
She's gonna fuck someone. It might as well be you.
again, that's why when she meets up with you, she's gone to the trouble. there's a high percentage chance that she will have sex with you if you don't fuck it up.
Yeah.
And it's good. And when you go in with that mindset, you tend to do better.
Oh, yeah.
You know.
Well, then you have a little bit more outcome independence about the whole thing. You don't have to commit to everyone that you go out on a date with. She's not committing to everyone she's going out on dates with.
No, you can end up being the fun guy.
All right, to the comments. First of all, compliment from Renee on my dress.
That's awesome.
You told me my hair's big today and we'll be the best friends ever. But then, on a more serious note, Will Francis, Fort Worth, please tell me that the bride's and bride's mom cheating with the dancer story wasn't real.
Brother, if it helps you sleep at night. Okay, so I worked at a hardcore bodybuilding gym, through most of the 90s and into the 2000s, when I was in my 20s, early 30s. And there were date dancers that worked there. Guys that either, I can't remember the name of that place. It wasn't Chippendales, but it's similar.
Yeah.
A local same concept. And they also did the, bridal showers,
oh, yeah.
And
bachelorette
parties, stripograms. And, in bodybuilding, you do talk a lot. And we would all be sitting around. And they were a couple of date dancers were swapping stories. And he said one party that he remembers going to and taking care of, he slept with the bride, the maid of honor, and the bride's mother. Not all at one time, but throughout the night. They just kind of like passed him around.
Oh, yeah.
And just as middle class, normal, and I wish I could tell you that it wasn't true. But it was true. And it's funny, like these guys that are entertainers.
Yeah.
It's like I told Buddy, I said, make no mistake. These guys had no shame.
No.
They would have, and this is like in the 90s when you didn't see really big women, they would bring a 300-pound woman up to pay their membership. And then they'd be like, yeah, we're going to the mall. She's going to buy my clothes. Yeah. And they did not care. They paid for nothing.
Yeah.
Yeah. Whatever money they made, they kept.
Well, and I will say from like my side of things, one time, it's been like 4 or 5 years ago that girlfriend of mine hauled me off to one of these shows. And it was just a show. It wasn't a party or anything like that. So it was kind of the whole room was on spectacle. And it was a whole troupe of these dancer guys.
Exactly.
And it was really goofy, first of all. But I had never been to anything like that with male dancers. Yeah. I'd only been to like female strip clubs.
Yeah.
And I tell you what, I don't care how laced up and pent up a girl was. If she was getting attention from any of those dancers, they didn't even have to be the hot ones. It would be like, you would have thought it was, I don't know, the president or Brad Pitt or Tom Cruise or whoever they had the hots for. It was insane.
Yeah. Situational.
I was in the bathroom sending you naked pictures, by the way.
That's funny.
I recall at least one time sending you a video of masturbation video from the bathroom of that.
Great.
But, I mean, anyone of any age was like falling all over the place.
Yes. And, again, Will, you got to realize, like, you may not hear some of this crazy stuff.
Yeah.
A lot of this comes down to environments.
Yes.
I mean, you work at a car dealership and talk to a bunch of car salesmen that are doing coke, and they're fucking people in the apartments behind the building, and then coming back over and selling cars. They're banging girls in the cars on the test drives. I mean, it's absolutely insane. Once you kind of get into some of these environments with these high testosterone alpha guys, there's no shame.
No.
But it's just opportunity.
Yeah.
It's really crazy.
Well, and something that we talked about on Wake Up with Bunny this morning was one of Troy Francis's tweets where, when you're a high testosterone guy, most really high T guys have at some point paid for sex. And I am in complete agreement with this. It's an experience. Whenever you are a high sex drive individual, you push the boundaries as far as you can and as far as you want to for the sake of the experience.
What I thought was interesting how you approached it was they're risk takers.
Yeah.
And again, and when I talk to guys, it does kind of catch me off guard sometimes. When they're like, I'll say, you know, how many girls have you seen? They'll be like, do you mean paid or,
Right.
you know,
right.
I mean, it's very casual, you know, but these are high T guys.
Yeah,
You know,
absolutely. If that's even crossing their mind, they're high testosterone
Yeah.
guys. I love it. I love it. I love it. All right. Oh, this is a good one. This is so good. So we talked about this on Wake Up with Bunny this morning, but it's so fucking good. We need to talk about it in this platform,
Okay.
period. So Richard Cooper shared this, and it's a text communique between a man and a woman. I will read it to make things a little easier. Okay, she says, "Hey, we will be on our way soon." He says, "Okay, wait, what do you mean we?" She says, "Me and my kiddos." He says, "Wait, are you serious?" She says, "Yes, why? Is that going to be a problem?" He said, "I mean, yeah, kind of." She says, "Why?" "I couldn't find a babysitter and I didn't want to cancel our plans. Figured this was a better solution." So then he gives the lesson. He says, "You honestly need an explanation? Fine. First off, you did not once mention that you had a child, yet alone multiple. Secondly, our plans were dinner and drinks at a bar, then a movie at my place, neither of which are acceptable places for a child. Finally, the fact that you were willing to not only bring your children along on a first date with a stranger that you don't know from the internet, but bring them to his house makes me seriously question your decision making. That being said, I think I'm out on this whole situation. Good luck, blah, blah, blah. Hope you find what you were looking for." And then she gets pissed off. "Seriously? Fuck you. How dare you criticize my parenting? My kiddos are angles, by the way, and I treat them like it. I just thought maybe you'd be sweet and understanding about my situation, but I guess not. You're just an asshole like every other guy out there. Fuck you, Nick. I hope you're always miserable and pathetic. You're a loss."
you can't correct a girl that you're not fucking.
Nope.
And even then, it's really maybe.
God, there's so much to unpack there. So much.
Yeah, it's nuts. What's the first thing you would unpack?
Well, the first thing is that it strikes me as so ridiculous that this was a first date. That she was pulling this stuff on a first date.
It's not unheard of.
Baron,
I've heard,
agree completely. Oof.
I have heard of girls showing up with their mom.
That one I can actually wrap my head around more than the kids
depends on the culture.
without any kind of frame of reference at all.
It is insane, but it's not unheard of. And it's not okay.
But what was it you were talking about earlier when we talked about this, about imagining that he also seems surprised, work with me here, he also seems surprised that she has kids.
Yeah. I mean, again, if a girl's 35 or older, you should assume she has children.
Right.
And the default is that they don't. You'll be surprised.
I would say if she's 25 or older, you should assume. Literally.
Always assume she has children. And even if she has like a heavy traveling corporate job, she might have one living with her mom. You know, I mean, it happens all the time.
Yeah. She's a flight attendant, but she's got kids somewhere.
Yeah. Or they stay with their dad.
Yeah.
You know, assume she has children if she's 25 or older.
I would say.
You would be surprised. I mean, that way you're not, you wouldn't be caught off guard.
Baron said he's had a chick show up with her sister and not in a fun way, that it was a total disaster.
I'm sorry to hear
that.
It happens. But,
not in a fun way. I like that.
And you just have to cancel the date right there. Just
yeah.
Go, hey, I wasn't planning on this. I've got to go. I've got another girl to meet up with.
Yeah.
It's just crazy.
It is crazy.
If a date is going bad, don't feel bad. Just cut it off because it's not going to get any better.
Well, and I would say as far as the text exchange in question, that this guy handled it well, first of all, and that he has no shame, zero shame in saying no, because she pulled a fast one on him in the first place by not indicating that she even had children. But then to bring them along without any, because that was zero warning. Being on
Yes.
the way and saying we, as if he's supposed to understand what that all means and what that all entails, that was a shit move on her part. This girl deserved what she got, and then she got pissed because deep down she's got to know she's in the wrong,
Yes.
theoretically.
And again, the wrong guy would get ran over.
Yeah.
She'd show up with the kids. He'd change the plans.
Yeah.
You know, they'd end up at like McDonald's, you know.
And he'd feed everybody,
he'd feed everybody.
entertain everybody.
They go see a Disney movie and then they're home. And
Yeah.
And then she doesn't see him again.
Which is really if you want to dial it in, that's the real reason that she got mad. She was having a paid for night out with her kids.
That's the cold blooded, but it's true.
Instead of having to pay a babysitter, which I promise you, she didn't even look for.
That's very interesting.
I would be willing to bet.
She may have pulled this before.
Because the girl who pulled this stunt, she knew what she was doing.
That's very interesting.
Yeah.
But he handled, again, if he didn't mind taking the time out of his life, or, you know, time that he will never get back, and writing a text that long, because generally any type of correction for a girl that you're not having sex with at that moment
Yeah.
is going to go over like a lead balloon.
Right.
She doesn't care. She will just confirm her suspicions. She shouldn't go out with you, and whatever, you know.
Yeah.
Nothing good comes out of like being explicit, but if it makes you feel better,
Yeah.
by all means. But don't expect it to change her behavior.
But he handled it. I thought he handled it
very well.
very well. If you're going to at least tell her
Yeah.
why,
Yeah.
you know, or explain that you're out, I think he did a good job. Just like the Jonah Hill thing with his text was actually pretty solid.
Yeah.
She goes off on it and she makes it an issue.
Yeah, and it's not. It's not embarrassing to her, because I don't think girls feel embarrassment like that. But there's some substance there. She's like dating. She's surfing with other men. She's, you know,
Yeah.
all these things, and she sent it all out like after his next girlfriend had a baby with him. You know, it's just timing.
Right.
But this was a well handled. Could have been a disaster.
Yeah.
And the guy could have just like sucked it up, or opened the door and said, "Oh, you must have the wrong house," and just, you know, shut the door,
Oh.
which I'm sure has happened too.
Woo.
But it's a very like Baron
Uh-huh.
said. I mean, it happens.
Yeah.
It happens
Yeah.
more than most.
Showed
people
up with a
think.
sister and not in the fun way. You just have to excuse yourself.
Yeah.
All right. Whew, that is rough though. Rough. All right. I thought this was pretty fucking solid. And this is put out supposedly, I think, by a girl. So she says the key to female happiness. Now, for all of you autists out there who ever see this is being facetious. This is tongue in cheek. All right. Take a hormonal pill that increases your risk of depression and suicide for decades. Girl boss your way up the corporate ladder. Never have children. Become a binge drinker. Have casual sex like a man. Take some SSRIs to even it all out.
None of this is good.
None of this is good.
And some girls will take that plan. And where does a plan like this start? It's hard to believe, and we've talked about this.
Yeah.
Moms will put this idea into their daughter's head. The mom got married at 17. She's never worked outside the house.
She's
And
had a
you know,
great life.
Yeah, she's always had everything she ever wanted. She's got 3 or 4 kids, and everybody goes to college. But she's telling her daughter, "Don't do what I did.
Yeah.
You know, make your own money."
Yeah.
So many things. I mean, so many times it's like, and we're as guilty as anybody. You'll have a dad who's been married for 30 years, happy as a lark, never complained, loves a wife. Don't get married. Your life ends. Don't do it. You know, you're just like, they're leading one way, and, you know, but you can guarantee that girls, and I think back in the 70s, 80s, early 90s, when girls were first really getting into the workplace,
Right.
it was really up in the air. Can a girl be a mom and a career girl?
Yeah.
And then what did your dad explain to you?
My father was very quick. Anytime I kind of went into more of a boss babe, feminist kind of slant on a conversation. He said, women can be incredibly successful in the corporate world or in the high political fields. He said, but the ones that are do not have happy, strong families. He said they can't do both well. He said, you're either a great mom, or you're a great corporate person, but you can't be both. And I think, and he never went this far with the conversation. That was all it took with me. Yeah. But he never went so far as to say, because she's always going to be pulled in both directions. Men do not have that struggle. Women will be taking off work because the kid is sick, or the school closed, or, the husband's sick, and so she has to take care of him, or any number of things. Women will take off work. Women will also take off work because they have a hair appointment, or the nail appointment, or a gyno appointment, or the kid stubbed its toe, or nobody slept well last night. Girls will take off work for all kinds of things. So imagine this girl also trying to be relied on in a high-end corporate environment.
Yeah.
Or in the political sphere. It doesn't work.
And even for bosses or mentors or companies, they know when she goes through the first pregnancy, it's like 80% chance she's not coming back.
It's true.
No matter where she lands on the corporate.
It's true.
And I have more contact with moms than the average guy. I mean, being personal trainers.
Yeah.
Then maybe an OBGYN has more, and that's it. Because we're around women all day.
Uh-huh.
The number one emotion for moms is guilt.
Yeah.
They feel guilty when they're with their kids. They feel guilty when they're away from their kids.
It's true.
They feel guilty for working out and taking care of themselves. They feel guilty when they gain weight. They're not being a good example.
Yeah.
They always feel guilt, and so that's
welcome.
what I learned really early on. I was like, man, these, no matter what, and even like my mom, she was like in her 70s. She's like, I could have done a better job. I'm like, you could not have done a better job. You're just like,
everybody's working, doing the very best with the tools that they have and the knowledge they have in that moment. Yeah. Period.
Moms always feel guilty.
Yeah.
So then trying to have them split their time, very difficult.
It's rough.
Yeah.
It's rough. Man. All right. Let's see if I just shared the same thing. I did. So I thought that Ashley Sinclair tweet was fucking phenomenal. I thought that was great. All right. We're going to share this tab instead. Let's see what it is. I think it's another video. Oh my gosh. Okay. So this video is
6 months max. And we've been together 15 years.
How long would you wait for her?
Forever. Don't lie. Why what?
Good, dude. You should get back on Hinge immediately.
Seriously.
Your husband was wrongfully convicted. How long would you wait for him?
6 months max. And we've been together 15 years.
How long would you wait for her?
Forever. Don't lie. Why what?
Good, dude. You should get back on Hinge immediately.
Seriously, she is such a cunt. I mean, she is a cunt. That's a horrible, horrible woman right there.
Well, the shoulder tattoo tells you everything you need to know. Usually there are signs.
Yeah.
There are usually signs, not 100%, but there's indicators.
We speak in grand generalizations.
Yeah. There's a good indication. There's a good chance you're going to get some bullshit out of her mouth.
But I mean, she is so disrespectful. And what strikes me about that video is she seems so concerned with what the interviewer, who is better looking, taller, well-spoken, has to say or thinks about her than what her husband does. Look at her body. I'm going a little bit of Rivellino in here, but like she's leaning towards away from her husband. She's been with this guy for 15 years. They have a lot of history. He's devoted to her. And I love that the question is if he was wrongfully accused.
That's it.
Wrongfully accused. Even then, she's like 6 months.
Yeah. She's out of there.
She's out.
And that's realistic too. that is a realistic, you can expect that.
Yeah,
Guys are the romantics,
yeah,
and it's never more apparent than something like this.
yeah,
Guys will pine away, and girls like move on.
yeah,
And a lot of this stuff's hardwired.
sure.
But yeah, she's a pile of shit. But there's a lot of indicators.
She is a pile of shit.
Yeah, there's a lot
I
of
was
indicators.
so mad about this video.
Yeah, 15 years.
15 years together, and she'll give it 6 months.
She doesn't even know how to. She doesn't know how to act.
And she makes and it's one thing to act that out in real life, like if this scenario actually happened. And after 6 months, she's like, she's stressed the max, like she's losing her hair, she's getting fat, like the stress is getting too much for her. That's one thing. But premeditated in a joking, assholey way, to be like, no. I mean, I love that interviewer was like, dude, you need to get on Hinge. Right
Immediately.
now.
Yeah.
He's like,
Because he's seen all this all
do
day.
you see what I'm looking at right now? It is painful.
Yeah.
Painful. I felt bad for that guy.
But through his pain, we get some lessons.
Yeah, we do. Yeah, we do.
And he's not going anywhere. Make no mistake.
No. No, clearly he's not going anywhere. I'm rolling my eyes at him too, but I'm still like want to bitch slap her.
Yeah.
Although I bet she could scrap. She'd be kind of scary.
Pretty funny.
Good show, baby.
Is that all we got? Okay.
Do you have any other things that you were wanting to discuss or think about?
No, I
Toss
think
around?
I think we really covered as much as possible. I
I agree.
I think that's it for today. I don't have anything else.
Okay.
All right. Hey, I'm the Worth Playboy,
I'm my Playboys Bunny.
and we appreciate you guys coming. She means let's sell something. And if you are relatively not necessarily new to dating, but want to improve your game, Basic Training 1 and 2
Yes.
are the best books that I have, and I have them in a bundle. And it should be listed below.
Yes, it's in the description box below.
It's a good primer for getting back into the game.
It really is.
And
They are primo.
Yeah, it's posture, it's lines, and it's how to talk, and just mental, what would you say, triggers to kind of keep you thinking about game and running game and putting your best foot forward in front of women,
Yeah.
which ends up being your best foot forward in front of the world.
Yeah.
There's no downside.
No.
And you improve. And again, a lot of this is internalized over time.
Yeah.
So that's what I would suggest.
It's really good. It truly is the basics of dating and etiquette.
Yeah.
And it's a great 1-2 punch. And all told, it's 100 lessons. It's substantial.
And these are all things that dads or friends or buddies used to pass down.
Yeah.
And it doesn't get passed down anymore because people don't hang out with anybody.
It's true.
It's crazy. So and there's more coming, but it gives you 100 to start with.
It's a really
lot.
good jumping off point. So thank you so much for joining us. If you have a specific question or topic that you would like to see us cover, please go to myplayboysbunny.com/men and you will see the tab on my website that indicates submit a question for Q&A. We appreciate you joining us today. Me and this handsome guy. We hope we bring you some value. So
And entertainment.
and entertainment.
We hope you enjoy yourself.
We do. We hope you have a good time when you're with us.
Your time is valuable. We appreciate it.
Oh, I love it. I love it. I love it. Oh,